Have you ever felt completely drained after spending time with a certain friend? Like you've been carrying a heavy weight, a weight that seems to pull you down, leaving you feeling depleted and off balance? We all have connections in our lives, and some of those connections, well, they can feel like a boat overloaded on one side, constantly threatening to capsize. Or maybe it's like a beautiful tree, strong and vibrant, except for one enormous, heavy branch that's straining the entire system, pulling it downwards. It's that nagging feeling of always giving, giving, giving in a friendship without ever really receiving anything in return. That constant tension of holding up someone else's emotional well-being while your own needs seem to fade into the background. It's an imbalance, and deep down, we know something isn't right. There's a better way, a more harmonious way to navigate these challenging relationships. Taoism offers a beautiful, insightful perspective on navigating life's complexities, including our relationships. It encourages us to find balance and harmony, and it does this through some core principles that can be incredibly helpful when dealing with difficult friendships. Think about the concept of flow, often described as wu wei. It's about allowing things to unfold naturally, like a river effortlessly finding its course, gently moving around obstacles rather than crashing against them. In friendships, this means recognizing when a connection is no longer serving us, when it's naturally fading or becoming harmful, and allowing ourselves to let go without force or resistance. Then there's the idea of authenticity, or pu, the uncarved block. It's about embracing our true, unpretentious selves and seeing others for who they really are, beyond any masks or manipulations. Think of a raw, unpolished gem, beautiful in its natural state, not needing to be anything other than what it is. This principle helps us discern whether a friendship is built on a genuine foundation, or if it's based on something forced or inauthentic. And finally, consider the empty space, Chu. It's not about emptiness as a void, but rather as potential. Think of a room sparsely furnished. It's not bare. It's open, allowing for easy movement and a sense of calm. It's in this unforced space where natural interactions arise. As Lao Tzu said, nature does not hurry, yet everything is accomplished. By embracing these principles, flow, authenticity, and the value of the empty space, we can begin to see toxic friendships and how to release them in a completely new light. So, how do we actually use these Taoist principles to recognize when a friendship is becoming toxic? Let's start by tuning into the feeling of flow, or rather, the lack of it. Do you consistently feel drained after interacting with this person? It might feel like you're swimming against a powerful current, constantly expending energy just to stay afloat. That's a sign the natural flow is disrupted. And what about authenticity? Are you able to be your true self around this friend, or do you feel pressure to put on a mask, to force a smile, to offer a fake laugh? That's your inner uncarved block telling you something is off. Genuine connections allow us to be who we are, without pretense. Think about your conversations. Are they balanced? A give and take of sharing and listening? Or do they feel like a blocked stream, with the flow of words and energy only going one way? Healthy friendships are reciprocal. Consider the overall emotional atmosphere of the friendship. Is it filled with constant negativity or drama, like a dark cloud obscuring the sun, blocking out the light and warmth? Or when you need support, do you find it lacking, like reaching for a branch that looks strong, but snaps under the slightest pressure? These are all signs that the friendship, instead of nourishing you, is actually depleting you. It's about listening to those subtle, and sometimes not so subtle, cues that tell you something is out of balance. One of the most powerful lessons of Wu Wei, of going with the flow, is recognizing the illusion of control. We often try so hard to make a friendship work, to fix what feels broken, to control the other person's behavior or reactions. But, just like trying to force a plant to grow faster by pulling on its stem, you'll only damage it. Think about trying to hold onto sand in a tightly clenched fist. The harder you squeeze, the more sand slips through your fingers. Relationships can be like that too. The more we try to force a connection that isn't naturally there, the more likely it is to crumble. Or consider a broken vase. You might try to glue it back together, using more and more glue, hoping to make it whole again. But often, the excessive glue just creates a bigger mess, highlighting the cracks instead of concealing them. Sometimes we see a wilting flower and desperately try to revive it, watering it constantly, moving it to different spots, hoping to bring it back to life. But sometimes the harder we try, the faster it fades. It's a painful truth, but a vital one. And in our friendships, this can manifest as always being the one to reach out, to initiate contact, to plan things, It's that feeling of constantly pushing a boulder uphill. Recognizing this futility, this illusion that we can force a friendship to be something it's not, is the first step towards letting go. Now let's talk about that empty space, that shoe. It's easy to fear the void that's left when we release a toxic friendship. But in Taoism, this emptiness isn't something to be dreaded. It's an opportunity, a space of potential. Think about pruning a plant. You cut away the dead or overgrown branches, and it might seem harsh at first, but it's actually creating space for new, healthy growth to emerge. Or consider decluttering a room. Removing the excess furniture, the unnecessary items, creates a more peaceful, functional, and inviting space. It's not about what's gone, it's about what's now possible. An artist understands this principle intimately. They use negative space, the empty areas around and between the subjects of a painting, to draw the eye, to create emphasis, to give the artwork balance and beauty. A composer does the same thing with rests in music. Those silences aren't empty. They're pregnant with meaning, giving the notes that surround them greater impact. Think of an empty garden bed in the spring. It might look bare for a moment, but it's brimming with potential, ready for new seeds to be sown, ready for new life to blossom. Letting go of a toxic friendship is like preparing that garden bed. It's creating the space, the fertile ground, for healthier connections, for personal growth, for relationships that truly nourish your spirit. It's not an ending, it's a beautiful, powerful beginning. So, how do we practically apply these principles to the delicate process of releasing a toxic friendship? It's a gentle art, a process of mindful letting go. Let's break it down into actionable steps. First, self-reflection. Connecting with your authentic self, your poo. Take some time to honestly assess the friendship's impact on your well-being. Journaling, meditation, or simply quiet contemplation can be incredibly helpful. Ask yourself, how does this friendship make me feel? Am I growing or am I shrinking? Second, gentle communication. If it feels appropriate and safe, consider communicating your feelings honestly and respectfully. This isn't about blame or accusation. It's about expressing your own needs and boundaries. Using I statements. Remember Wu Wei, act without forcing. Sometimes direct communication isn't possible or advisable, and that's okay. Third, gradual withdrawal. This is about reducing contact in a natural, flowing way, like a river gently changing its course. Avoid dramatic confrontations. It might mean responding less frequently to messages, declining invitations, or simply creating more space between you. Think of it as a gradual fading of a sunset, a natural transition. Fourth, creating space, embracing that shoe. Actively focus on activities and relationships that do nourish your spirit, that bring you joy and a sense of well-being. This is about filling that space with positive energy. And finally, acceptance. This is a crucial part of Wu Wei. Accept that not all friendships are meant to last forever. People change, circumstances change, and that's okay. Allow yourself to grieve the loss if you need to, but avoid dwelling on it. Think of it like a bird slowly leaving the nest or taking small, deliberate steps back from a hot stove. It's about protecting yourself and embracing the natural flow of life. It's a slow, gentle unfurling, a release, and a step towards a more balanced and harmonious you. Releasing toxic friendships, as we've seen, isn't about ending something abruptly or with negativity. It's about honoring your own well-being, about recognizing the natural flow of life, and creating space for authentic, nourishing connections to blossom. It's like a tree shedding its dead leaves, not in a moment of loss, but in preparation for new growth, stronger and healthier than before. Or a garden after weeding, where the unwanted plants are removed, not to create emptiness, but to allow the desired flowers and plants to truly flourish. It's about clearing away the debris, allowing that clear stream of connection to flow freely, unburdened. Letting go of relationships that no longer nurture us can be a difficult but essential act of self-love, paving the way for a more balanced and harmonious life. While knowing when to release a connection is important, understanding how to cultivate and sustain loving relationships is equally vital. How do we nurture the bonds of love, ensuring they not only endure, but flourish? What are the Taoist principles that guide us towards deep, fulfilling connections, both in friendship and in romance, allowing love to thrive across a lifetime? Join us in the next video where we'll explore how to foster enduring, loving relationships, both platonic and romantic, drawing upon the wisdom of the Tao